During this video, I'll share how to set up CPT codes, or procedure codes for billing. Procedure codes, as you know, provide uniformity and help simplify the healthcare claims process. Specific words and numbers refer to and describe specific medical procedures and services. In this video, we'll cover the following important aspects. To begin, click on Setup, and then click on Procedure, and the Search Procedure screen will open up. If we want to set up a list of procedure codes for our office, let's say I'm looking for the procedure code 99213. Enter the procedure code and hit Search. This is the procedure code 99213 with the description. If you want to edit the procedure code, click on the Edit button, and the Encounter Procedure screen will open. Practice Suite Procedure screen has some really important additional features that allow you to control how a procedure needs to be populated while doing billing. For example, in addition to the code and description, we have the ability to specify if we should default a modifier. Let's say whenever I bill a certain procedure code, 83036, I always want to default the modifier to be QW, showing this is a CLIA waived test. So I can fill in the modifier, which will get defaulted as soon as I fill up the charge. We can allow up to 4 modifiers to be defaulted. The next field is the Global Period field. The Global Period is defined for each surgical HCPCS code. It can be 0 or 10 days following a minor surgical procedure, or 90 days for major surgeries. You specify the number of days here. Let's say you have a new set of procedure codes that you want to enter into the system along with other previous codes. But you don't want to send these new codes to the insurance company. Instead, these codes will be used for internal tracking purposes. To do this, simply select the Line Status Admin code. Similarly, if you want to create a procedure code for an item that's being sold to a patient, such as vitamin supplements, you'll create this procedure and select Bill to PT or Bill to Patient from the drop-down menu to bill to the patient directly for this code. This is a very flexible way to give you the ability to control what happens when a procedure is created. By default, if you don't select anything, the charge will automatically be billed to the case linked to the charge itself. You can also select the drop-down as Hold if you want to hold a particular procedure. In addition, select the checkbox if you want to default the ordering provider as the rendering provider, as some payers want ordering provider information on the claim for certain procedures. Click on the checkbox of Default CLIA number so that whenever the lab code is entered, the CLIA number should always get defaulted from the practice setup. Moving towards the right side, the group code and group order is utilized to create a macro. Let's say, typically used in pediatric practices, a 2-year-old child came in for a well visit and was advised for 3 immunization charges and an office visit charge. As soon as I identify a 2-year-old well visit, I'll give the group code, say, 2YWV for 2-year well visit. And I'll say this is my first procedure in that set of procedure codes. So this is how to utilize these 2 fields to create a macro that can automatically fill. If you type 2YWV in the charge field, it will automatically load all the relevant procedure codes in that group. The type of service is to specify what type of service this is. By default, it will be blank, but if you want to specify, for reporting purposes, as to what type of procedure it is, then you can utilize this field. Next is the Line of Business field, which is a general classification of the business running in the facility. Let's say I'm a diagnostic imaging center, and I have an X-ray machine, sonography machine, MRI machines, and I want to know how each of these machines are doing in terms of monthly performance. Then I can create all different sets of procedures and assign a line of business, and we'll have a reporting capability where we can run a report by line of business. And we can understand that in this line of business, X procedures were performed in a given month, and this is the dollar value that you've collected. And once you've made all the changes, go ahead and save it. If you want to add any particular procedure codes, click on the Add icon and follow all these same steps. To look for any inactive procedures which were inactive in the past, you can pull them all up by selecting the checkbox. To summarize, we've just covered the following on how to set up a procedure code in the system.